Hello, welcome to update 4 on my N-scale layout. I've got a lot of stuff done. I've been busy 3D printing different things. Like you can see, I've got some new houses here. I've got my Jersey Shore barriers all printed out. They came out really nice. And I even did a little Land Rover just to try it out. And I've got some ditch drains here. They're too big though. I have to go smaller. I'd have to dig the foam out too much to make them fit. So they got to be about 50% smaller to fit without digging too deep. I've got a dock I made. My sharks. Did a little banana hut and a track bumper over here. It came out really nice. New signal tower. I did over here, I did a little bear scene. The bears attacking campers. I'm going to build a little cave in the foam. So they'll have that. It's going pretty well. Let's put onto the engine driver. Points are working great. Everything's sticking really nice. I've had no problems with that. I'm pretty happy with them. They've been going really well. I've got my lake ready here, my pond, my waterfall and the little river. I still have to dig out that little end section. I'm going to sand it down, and then I'm going to use some Sculptamold once it's sanded flat as a base, and then I can paint that, put some scenery stuff in there, little trees and, you know, rocks, different things. But some people pour the resin right on the pink foam, but I'm about 1/2 inch in, and I'm a little worried the resin chemical reaction heats up a bit. It can melt foam. So by putting the Sculptamold on the base, that'll help out, hopefully. Not sure what to do at the top here. I made these little cuts kind of to hold the resin, but I might put some dams I can remove to make a better transition from the river to the waterfall. I got to do some more research on that, see how that works. The resin I'm going to use is this Canadian company. It's called Magic Resin, and it's a 1-to-1 mix, very easy, and they even give you some dyes in it. I figure I'm going to go with a bluish green dye. You can print it out, or not print it out, you can pour some water and of the equal amount that you want to use, and then test it with the dyes a little bit and get the color you want, and then apply it to the resin instead of committing to the resin, because once it's done, it's done. Last night I did some wiring cleanup. I had this huge octopus, tons of plugs all over the place. So I put a power strip, plugged in my different outlets. I made it so the USB can just unplug here to plug into the computer very easily. If I ever want to update my DCCX command station, this is accessible here. The little servo controller and LED controller. You can actually control LEDs on this. Not a ton, because it's using the Arduino power. So you could probably get about 20 lights, LEDs off it, but you could do really cool stuff. Like they have this little campfire sketch where you can run a light onto it, and it flickers like a campfire. So that's really interesting. So I'm going to probably do that. But this is really good because now I can move the table around. I got one plug that plugs in. I left some excess wire so I can still, like, this isn't fastened. It still moves around on the table. So I can slide it off to get underneath things easily. So that's going pretty good. I did some printing. Oh, just to let you know, I've been using this Elegoo. I just bought another bottle of it here. This Elegoo V2 water washable resin. I gotta say, I really like it. It's got a less smell than the Anycubic, which is nice when it's printing. And the parts come out really good, like the detail is just really, really nice. I did some more track bumpers. I don't need them. I just printed out a couple extras. And that's a spare tire for the Land Rover. I printed out some extra Jersey Shore barriers. Man, I could make like hundreds of those. I did another sleeping bag with a tent here, but I was trying different sizes for the people, trying to figure out, you know, what would work best. This was just a little too big, and you know, different size bears and the people. This is one thing I tried the people, like they're so tiny. AliExpress sells 100 people for 13 bucks painted. So I ordered 100 people pre-painted just to see what they look like. I mean, I can print them out anything I want. And they give you all sorts of, like this here. You've got all sorts of different characters, standing, sitting, dancing, everything. But, you know, to take each one of those off and to paint them, they're kind of small. And I figured for 13 bucks pre-painted, we'll try it out. I've got to do some stuff. I'm going to be printing some canoes. I found some really nice canoes. I've got to scale them down because a shark's going to be chasing a canoe around. Should be interesting. And, you know, like I said, I've been working on my bear attack. I just put one of the little people, he's laying on the ground there. And the bear's on all fours, but it's designed to stand on two legs. But I haven't glued him down yet, not till I get the scenery. I'm going to make a little cave there. That'll be cool. Here, let's get the train going around. Oh no! It didn't derail. How cool is that? I went backwards by accident. Whoop. Let's go points. One thing you got to remember is once you cross a point, close it. Because if you don't, the train comes back, it's going to derail. Train's been running good. Broadway Limited, I have nothing bad to say. It's been running flawless. No hiccups. Goes through points like beautiful, you know. Yeah, I'd buy from them again for sure. I think their new Paragon 4 stuff is a great improvement from the Paragon 3. The Paragon 4 has a capacitor in it that it's kind of like a keep alive. So whenever it hits an insulated frog, the train has some power left in the capacitor to keep it going. So you don't get that like on and off, on and off. They use those capacitors in passenger cars, in cabooses a lot. I've seen that where they, on DCC, they'll use a bridge rectifier, which converts the AC pulse with modulation current, gives it a proper DC output, and they hook it up to LEDs, and by adding a capacitor onto that, the passenger cars will stay lit even if they run into dirty track. It's really cool. You can pick them up off the track and they still stay lit for a couple of seconds, which means there's a little bit of like a power source on there, so if they run into a bad connection, you don't get that light flicker they used to get in the old days. It's totally eliminated. as well as the technology is being used for the locals now, these Keep Alives. And it's pretty good. I wish Locksound would do it, like Skill Trains is another manufacturer. But they don't use the capacitors the same way as the Paragon 4. And it's kind of a shame. I mean, they do in the bigger scales, but for N-scale they don't. It just makes for a really clean running train. Anything else happening? Yeah, there's a train show coming March 1st in Chilliwack. And they're going to have this N-scale estate sale. And the one thing I need to get is some passenger cars, because the steamers, like this steamer wasn't really known for pulling freight. It was meant to pull passenger cars around. And I want to get like just a couple, 2 or 3 maybe, for it to pull around. And you know, I'll do the conversion if there's no lights on it. I'll add the bridge rectifier capacitor and LEDs to it. I'm going to be doing that to my caboose. I'm going to add some lights to it, maybe a couple red lights for the back of it. That should be really nice to watch that go around the track. The new portals came out really well. I went with a different model of portal. I'll show you. These were the original portals I had. These ones here. And as you can see, they're quite large. And when I widened them out, they just looked huge on my train. They look just too big. So I found another 3D model of a portal that I can widen out that's a little smaller. It just seems to fit the scale better. So I printed out 2 of those and 2 for the single entrances, and they're perfect size. Like I could get passenger cars going through there, no problem at all. So yeah, I've got some 3D printing. Oh, another thing, I did some tests for the lines on the road. I've got some tape coming in. It's 1/32 tape. It's like a white flat. And some people in the forums have been recommending it. Instead of taking the Tamiya tape and painting it, this already comes flat white. And it's a little thinner. It's very thin vinyl. And I can cut them to size and stick them on to make all my lines. And yeah, you get a roll of like, you know, quite a bit of it. And I'll try that. The spacing, I was having a hard time with the spacing. But Woodland Scenics has a ruler for putting lines in, and it's not prototypical, but looks better. And the lines are about 1/4 inch, and the spaces are just a hair less than half an inch. And prototypical, they're bigger and spaced farther, but a lot of people say it doesn't look realistic for some reason. Where the Woodland Scenic spacing looks a lot more realistic. So let's throw this point. And let's throw that point. Now she'll go onto the outside track, go around. I've been having fun on the couch, putting cars on my staging area, backing the train into them, picking them up, running them around. You know, it's kind of a lot of fun. I'm really happy with the points are sticking really good. They've been working for days now, and I've been using them quite a bit, and I've had no problems with them at all. So I'm pretty happy. And that one's thrown, closed. They're all closed. Good. That's one thing you got to get used to with points is if you have a point that's open when it should be closed, it'll derail your train. So it's kind of like a puzzle game, or when you go around, certain switches, like coming into them is okay. If I had that one thrown, it would just turn in. But if I had this one thrown and she was going by it, it'll derail unless it's in the proper place. So it makes it interesting. It's kind of like a little game, you know. But that's about it. Lots been happening. I'm going to do my static grass applicators coming in on the 20th. So I'm going to be playing with some static grass. Really cool. You put the glue down and it uses static electricity to make the grass stand up in the glue like real grass. So I'm going to be playing around with that. I'm debating whether I want to do my resin pour before I add the grass. I don't think it matters, but I'll think about it a bit. I'd like to get the pond poured, but then people say once you get the resin on the pond, if you start making a mess of things, it's hard to clean up off the resin apparently. So some people say lay all your grass and your all your scenery stuff, and then do the resin pour kind of last. You know, it would be the last thing. You'd lay your grass around the edges, make a beach, put some little twigs and branches in, some sand, you know, rocks, whatever you want in it. And then basically get your scenery done all around everything. And then lay your resin, pour your resin out. I'll think about it. I don't know. Part of this whole project's been kind of like a learning experience, just to see how things are done. You know, some people get in, they want to build an empire, but I find that starting off with something really tiny like this, that's a little intricated, you know, with the electronics and different things, you know, you learn a lot. Like, I've never done ballasting before, roads, you know, the scaling I've had to do. It's all been kind of a journey, just learning how it all goes together. And it's fun. That's the most important thing, is it's a lot of fun. And I'm doing it kind of on the cheap. I'm trying to do everything without spending a ton of money on it. Okay, I gave in on the people. I figured $13 compared to painting 100 little figures was worth the $13, you know? But everything else, I've been trying to, you know, keep it as cheap as I can, and so far things have been going pretty good. Like, everything works. I mean, I have no problems with the layout. Train's really reliable. Broadway Limited, their Paragon 4 stuff, yeah, I can't complain. I can't complain at all. I definitely buy another one from them. And I am. I've got my pre-order for that ES44 coming in. And I might pick up, they have a pre-order for an E8 with the, I've always wanted an old either F3 or E-Series diesel. They're the old diesels. And I wanted it with the Santa Fe war bonnet. And it's just gorgeous. And they had, Broadway Limited had a pre-sale on the I think it's an E8 with the war bonnet scheme, and I mean, I still gotta wait a few months for it, but I might pick that up again. You know, it's the F3 is nice. That was one that, when I was a kid, that was one of the first ones I had with the war bonnet, you know, the red and yellow. But it was only 4 trucks, and the E-Series has 6 trucks on it. So I found it's a little bigger. I found it a little more interesting. Everybody's got the you know, the F3, but the E-Series, you know, and especially if I can get one with all the sounds and the high quality that you know, they've done with the steamer, which I love. Yeah, it should be. It's got working. It's got a. They call it a Mars light in the front. It kind of oscillates the light. They used to call it a Mars light, and it has one of those. Again, got to get some passenger cars. We'll see about the swap meet. I'm hoping. No guarantees though. But that's my update, and that's about it. Talk to you later. Bye.